Well, that's our first Cardicula changeover for the season. Well, season, sorry, for the morning. Well, it's probably not morning yet, we've probably gone over into the afternoon time. But yeah, also we've had daylight saving change last weekend, so you know, we're the sun comes up earlier now. Well, it just comes up on real time now, but you know what I mean. It gets lighter. It gets lighter an hour earlier. Well, it's really just normal litage, and you know, it gets darker sooner. So yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, I've forgotten what the energy of a moving of the momentum of an object is. It increases by the square of the speed or something. I've forgotten now. But when you combine it with increasing the length of your lever sort of thing, I think it goes up by the cube. I don't quote me on that. I'm going to have to work it out on the back of a postage stamp. But it increases the actual momentum of the object incredibly, more than you would think. And therefore, you know, you can make a walnut go kilometres just by doubling the length of your arm, basically, by having an arm length piece of stick on the end of your hand with a walnut on the end. You can make a walnut go, well, it looks like a bionic man is throwing a walnut, basically. So that's how you can make a boomerang go further than a cannon shot and still have it come back, basically. But I'm going to have to prove it with a walnut, because you just won't believe it. How far you can throw a walnut just with your arm length sort of thing, and how far you can make a walnut go when you stick it on an arm length piece of stick. And when it comes off at the apogee of the arc, it's like watching Bionic Man do something, you know. You know, so-called Steve Austin, all those, you know, pictorial tricks and things they did in the series. No, this is for real. It looks like something out of bloody $6 Million Man, but it's not. It's real. It's just physics. And it's just incredible. But please, if you're going to do something there, go out to a massive over, because I said it's incredible. You just will not believe how far you can make a walnut go in that situation. And of course, things go up with the same amount of momentum that they come, you know, they come down with the same amount as they go up, sort of thing. So please do it in an extremely large park, because it will take out someone's eye if they're on the other end, accidentally on the other end. So, but yeah, there's really no point going out in this sort of stuff now. I think it's just way too early. But we will if we come back here. But look at the amazing vegetation here. It's just and the leaf shapes, you know. Do you get that sort? Do you get these sort of leaf shapes on plants overseas? You know, even in South Africa, do you get sort of leaf shapes like that? I know you do have convergent evolution and things like that, but at the moment, you know, nothing's really coming through, as far as I know. But you never know; there might be a. And we got. Now look at that. I mean, if we get one of these diaphanous mist day, that moss is going to absolutely look stunning. Yeah, you walk through some of this diaphanous mist sort of thing. It'll be like the beginning of the Imagine clip. You've seen the beginning of the Imagine, the fall clip, I mean. And when they're walking through the early morning diaphanous mist. Yeah. And you got things like this. Plants that look like sticks. Amazing. And look at that. And we've got casuarinas with photosynthetic bark, you know. It's just incredible what's here. It's just too much to do in one lifetime, really. You know, really, it's like passing a little battons to people, because it's just no way that one person can absorb all of this, I don't think. I mean, it'll just be amazing what they'll be able to do with supercomputers, because some sort of supercomputer will be able to collect all this data and pick out the salient points and stick something in front of you and think, well, what do you think of this? And you'll just be blown away, because the computer's been able to pick the brains of, you know, 10 or 15 people's lifetimes worth, and pick out something salient that none of the 15 ever really thought or came across themselves, sort of thing. But because the supercomputer can actually sift through all that and collate all that sort of information, it can pick out something that really none of them ever saw, but was always there in the out the corner of their eye, sort of thing. They all basically saw it, but they never really did, you know. But because they all saw it, it becomes a, you know, higher up in the and becomes a salient point. But yeah, it's amazing. That's just food for something, isn't it? Some sort of carnivorous plant, and just sitting there, food resource, you know, picking off one ant at a time, you know. And you think a plant can't take something that size? Oh, wait till you find out what the glid really can do. As I say, it's like a Macca's sundew. It just takes whatever it can get. It has to, really. It's got such a short lifespan. Whether it can be hybridised, if Sean or some other person can hybridise it with something else, and oh gee, that is a stunning view. I just like views like that, you know. It's like the long winding road, isn't it, really? Yes. Leading you back to WA, where all the action really is, you know. But yeah, you can't begrudge South Australia, because, you know, you've got things like Profalia, which is like a remnant species from the Bulbosa rogulata sort of group, telling you basically that they must have spread across the southern half of Australia, and you've got remnant patches here and there, and if you go out and look, you might find something else. And I said, look on the west coast of Tasmania, and now they're saying we've got a new form of Arcturi. I wouldn't go as far as calling it a separate species. I would say they're subspecies of each other, but then again, why don't you look for ribbon tentacles on the tips of the new one, and you never know, or look for pads under dew on the so-called new one. But yeah, I was looking back through Rickert Erickson's book, and I was thinking the line drawing in that, and I have seen a line drawing like the photographs they're using somewhere in one of the older books. So it's a line drawing though. So, you know, going back through all the years and all those books I used to go and try and hunt down back in the old days, you know, when I was just a kid, a child, baby goat. Yeah, I have seen something very similar, but a line drawing. And I looked at Rickert Erickson and I thought, not sure. Whether it's in Lloyd, I'll have to go and look at Lloyd tonight, I think. But yeah, I've definitely seen a line drawing, and you know, from an old book that's like that. So, you know, I wouldn't say it's nothing new, you know. And so when I went to Kangaroo Island, there was about, you know, 6 basic variations on what was going on over there, and you know, so there's more than Smutsy Eye on the bloody Kangaroo Island, I can tell you that. And it's been renowned for yonks that Kangaroo Island is a crossing over point from the Albany region to the southwest coast of Tasmania and parts of Victoria and things like that. So, you know, I just don't know why people haven't spent more time. I said I haven't been back to Kangaroo Island since '98, so, you know, it just shows you. I can see how time can fly. But other people in much more privileged positions than I am, I mean, they should have gone back. And I mean, I know that Colin Clayton did mention that the pygmy form on Kangaroo Island is different to the mainland. I mean, that's a good start. And I said I always like to give credit where credit is due. You know? So that's why you're hearing it from me on this video. I just wish other people were more scientific and would give credit where credit is due as well, you know. I mean, how can you really call yourself a scientist? And also if you doctor photographs and things like that, I mean, that's just totally unscientific. You know, you're cutting information out of a photograph because you don't want other people to know. I mean, what happened to free and open communication as part of the scientific method, you know? You don't want other people to know, but you want people to know something, but you don't want them to know all of them. And I think, nah, you're just not a scientist. Just show the bloody photograph. Yeah, maybe even put a comment. Can you see what's in this photograph? I'm not going to tell you what's in this photo, but can you see it? I mean, it's one thing being a glory hunter, but to actually try and obtain the glory by preventing other people from seeing things, nah. That was the last straw for me. doctoring a photograph, that's just, nah, it's not scientific. You Gonski then, that's it. I just couldn't, no, and there's no way you can come back from that. You know, show the photograph in its entirety or take another photograph if you really want to do it, but don't have a photograph you've taken and doctor it. Take another bloody photograph if you want to obscure some relevant, salient piece of information. Well, I think I've had my rant really early today, but that's it. I'm coming to the end of my experiments now, and how do I put it? Everyone's right and everyone's wrong at the same time, and I totally see how we could get it so wrong for so long, and also have everything matching everything in the books as well. Because how do I explain it to you this way? Calcium is completely essential and totally irrelevant. It's a bit like saying, you know, parafailure is exceedingly rare but locally common, as Stephen Fretwell, I think, put it back in 2005 when he came over, I think. I was a bit reticent to copy him because it was like he was trying to put words into my mouth, sort of thing. But I think, well, it's a good little phrase, but it's your phrase, it's not mine. But to paraphrase him, it's like with calcium, it seems to be, as I said, it's completely essential in the carnivorous syndrome, but also totally irrelevant as well at the same time, which is a way of saying everyone's right and everyone's wrong at the same time. And it also explains why you have a bloody genus like Pinguicula, where you have, you know, one section of it you totally need calcium, and calcium promotes growth, and you have other members seemingly abhor it at the same time, and it just comes back to the same point. Calcium is, as I'm saying, as I will be saying in my thesis, completely essential but totally irrelevant, which is, you know, sounds like double Dutch, I know, and I'm going to have to spell it out one bit at a time, and I'm going to have to prove it by experimentation, showing that you can grow things in high calcium, you can grow things in high nutrients, and so on and so forth. Oh wow, well, it's probably seems like miles away, but it's, you know, it's a basketball and a half away. Kangaroo. Gideon's probably totally bored now. Anyway, now from my memory, we went down and then we turned around and went through a bit like at that other place. Anyway, probably time to start a new clip, because that is absolutely stunning vista out there.